Well, I too have struggled with GI issues over the years. I have something called Lynch syndrome. So gut health is extremely important to me. And while gut health awareness has increased, it's led to a wellness trend that's inspired a host of questionable marketing and some false claims. Now, you've seen the word probiotic attached to all kinds of supplements, drinks, even more. They may claim to deliver the healthy microorganisms our gut needs for proper function, but all too often the promises are in fact too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Symbiotic. Seed's Daily Symbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut health and can improve regularity and relieve bloating, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Symbiotic apart is the delivery system. While some products may offer the right strains, they're fragile, they rarely survive the trip through the gut, doesn't get where it needs to go, but Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure the probiotic reaches your colon, which is where they often are needed. I've been taking Seed's Daily Symbiotic, and I really encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20 for 15% off your first month of Daily Symbiotic. That is seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20. It is officially winter, and even though we're all taking precautions, it is high cold and flu season. Staying hydrated properly is key to helping your body deal with all this stress, and nothing has worked better for myself, my family, my patients than Hydrolite, the amazing rapid rehydration drink mix you've heard me talk about for quite some time. I've been obsessed with it. Also, in time for cold and flu season, they have their latest formulation, Hydrolite Plus Immunity. It's become a huge favorite around this household. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and a host of great ingredients. Each single serving, easy-to-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 300 of elderberry extract. They've created a great-tasting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Remember, zinc's very important for the immune system. They've combined this with Hydrolite's 7 key electrolytes, making this a fantastic way to stay properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water to make a great-tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all-natural flavors. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, vegan. Hydrolite Plus Immunity is also now available in ready-to-drink bottles at Walmart next to the pharmacy. Or as always, you can find it by visiting hydrolyte.com/Dr. Drew. Again, HYDRALYTE.com/DRDREW. And be sure to use the code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.
Hey, everyone. It's a dose of Dr. Drew.
And here we are. I was just checking the chat stream, and Donovan is in Tennessee, and he says, howdy from Tennessee. Anybody have a spare room so I can escape this dumpster fire going on with new cases?
Wait, really quick, before you get started, I want to explain today's premise.
Hold on.
This is the premise. You see the locals thing in front of you, Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got to explain how this Zoom meeting locals thing works. So
I will do that.
Can join.
After I finish this one thought, which is that I quickly then went to the CDC to see what's going on in Tennessee. Lo and behold, Tennessee has moved to the head of the pack at 129 cases per 100,000. And Oklahoma has moved down to 98, but California has moved up into the top 10 with 90 cases per 100,000. So
all right, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
The winners. Here we go, the locals. We're going to do a locals chat today.
Yeah, we are doing it. We have people on the line right now, and if you want to join locals, you can also be Zooming in. You don't just have to chat on the stream, and we can see your beautiful face. So anyways, go to drdrew.locals.com, pay your $7, and you can get the Zoom link under Drew's chat.
And people are already asking for an update on Leopold, so why don't we bring the chat in, and maybe I can get a little update from Joe, if he's comfortable giving us that. Let's bring in the Zoom.
You want to see all the Zoomers?
Yeah, let's bring the Zoomers in.
They're waiting patiently.
We have a few newcomers.
Oh, wait, there's another one. Wait, let me get him.
We're going to be with Dr. Zelenko, and Dr. Yogendra said he'd stop by as well, so we'll get an update from Dr. Zelenko.
Another one just popped in. I want to get them all on before.
All right. Andrew Ashkazvili, we'd love to have you on that Zoom. It'd be fun.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
We have a lot today. I'm really excited.
Cool.
Somebody's texting me.
I know. It's
Oh,
your
my
phone.
hairdresser. I'm getting my hair done
Your
today.
phone has been going crazy.
I know. I have to leave it on because it's a lot of times it's Anthony. Hi,
Mhm.
Anthony. Or
There we are.
it's Casey. Hi, Casey. Or it's Joe. Or it's Monica. So I want to make sure I didn't do something wrong. I know you can't hear the ads at the beginning because they were saying we can't hear anything, but I think it was okay in the real world.
And those of you who heard me talk about flipping birdies, go ahead and raise your hand, Mr. Birdies. He's busy with. There you are. And we
Flip
have
us some birdies over there.
we have new Kristen. Kristen is in there. Hi, Kristen. And then Laura. I think is that you? Does that get the name right? Susan, maybe click on the names.
sorry.
Aaron. I beg your pardon. Aaron, welcome.
Looks like we have a couple of newbies, Rory and Anne.
Anne, we haven't seen yet. And Rory, I think, is not. And Michelle, we've had before. So anyway, who's in the middle there? Nancy. Nancy, welcome.
This is Nancy. Good eyes.
So, Joe, I wonder if you can give us a little update on Leopold.
Yes, thanks, Drew. I just contacted him a few minutes ago. Tonight, he's feeling a little bit worse tonight. He's feeling very weak. His fever and his heart rate are back up.
Did that just happen? It seemed like he'd be doing better all day.
Only within the past few minutes, I contacted him because I had mentioned the show tonight.
Okay.
And he's very questionable coming on. He's probably not going to come on tonight.
That's fine.
But I just wanted to give an update on Leopold.
And he's gotten remdesivir. Did he get the baricitinib?
I could ask him.
Okay.
But I don't know that.
And he got some steroids. That was helping, which is great.
He's on at least day 2 or 3 on the remdesivir now.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you for that, Joe. Appreciate it. Also on the thread, you guys are asking about 0% ICU availability in LA. I don't understand that. We heard 0% ICU in Southern California, but I went on the county's website and they show we have not plenty, but we have ICU beds available. And again, those are county beds only. That doesn't mean there aren't any private beds. So that whole report to me seems very bizarre. And then, Joe, you wanted to ask a question before I let you go about this AMA report. Do you want to try to see if anybody has anything to update on that?
Well, don't you want to wait for Dr. Zelenko?
I'm going to get his opinion on it too, but I'm wondering if anybody on the Zoom has an opinion about it.
Okay.
So I posted in Locals about 2 hours ago. I called Dr. Drew's podcast this afternoon and talked about how it seemed like the AMA rescinded their order, which they did not. However, there was a statement that they put out on October 30th, and it said the following, which was very, very confusing to me, and it seems to be confusing to everybody. It said, the American Medical Association rescinds its statement calling for physicians to stop prescribing hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine until sufficient evidence becomes available to conclusively illustrate that the harm associated with use outweighs the benefit early in the disease course. The key word here is rescind. So initially they were not for that, but then they rescinded that with nobody noting.
And then they went back on that again, right?
Pretty much.
All right. So anyone in the Zoom have any knowledge about this? Joe and I just came upon this today, and it's a very strange. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if it was fake news or what. Anybody have any opinions about that?
I don't have any information, but I definitely have an opinion.
Yep.
Now we're wondering, why people aren't listening to all this.
I know.
Fed to us. I know. Every day it's different. This is ridiculous.
I know. Steve is saying safer than Tylenol. Yeah, it is safer than Tylenol. Tylenol I would not particularly want a pregnant woman to take, and yet the lupus patients on hydroxychloroquine are being encouraged to stay on hydroxychloroquine even when pregnant. Pretty crazy. All right. What else on your guys' mind? We got a big group in there today. Anything you guys want to chat about? Anything of concern? We're going to have Dr. Zelenko in here in just a few minutes, and hopefully Dr. Yogender stop by.
I mean, I want to certainly ask that to Dr. Zelenko.
Yeah, I will see if he has any, if he knows anything. He gets pretty heated about these things, so I'm expecting a real reaction. So
it looks like Kristen actually had not was Chris, but Kristen.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good.
So I'm part of the Pfizer trial, and they have not told me yet if I've gotten the placebo or the real thing. I'm still answering the questions twice a week for them. Do I feel sick? Do you think if I went to get the antibody test that it would show up? Because I know Pfizer may still want to keep me in the testing.
Yeah. Did you get sick with any of the vaccines?
No.
You probably got the placebo, I'm betting, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some publications today that were saying we have to make the Pfizer placebo group a priority in terms of receiving the vaccine. So from an ethical standpoint, I know they're rushing to open things up and get you what you need. So I wouldn't really do anything just yet. My bet, and it's only a guess, within a week you're going to hear something.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you're ready to go, huh?
Hopefully. I just want to go to concerts again. That's my life.
Wait, to what kind of concerts?
That's cool.
80s stuff. The K-rock type stuff. That's my jam.
Are you in Los Angeles?
No, but Richard and Krista are my good friends. I do all the 80s stuff with them.
Oh my gosh, that's a small world. She's talking about Richard Blade.
Yeah, I know. I worked with Richard Blade in 1984.
No way.
Yeah, we used to do shows together. I did a Duran Duran concert with him, and my bikini girls would come out on stage before the band, and they literally bum rushed us out the back door. They were so excited to see all these beautiful women. So it lasted like 3 minutes. We were chased out the back door. But I used to do a lot of shows with him and the Poor Man, and before I met Drew. Drew actually knew you. Did I know you? No, I didn't know you at that time.
Probably not.
No, I didn't.
Crazy.
I think that's a long story.
Well, hopefully we'll get back to the concert soon. I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And please say hi to Richard and Kristen for me. We miss them. They're going to have their big boxing party coming up, won't they?
Well, I just got their Christmas card today. Let me see if I have it here.
They don't have a boxing party, do they?
Yes,
they have it during
Boxing Day party.
Yeah, but they usually do, but I haven't seen.
Oh, that's right. They can't because of COVID.
Yeah, I got their Christmas card too.
Oh, you got their Christmas card? Okay, then we'll show it. All right, guys.
I also got Pee Wee Herman's. I was so excited, and he writes on his postcard, his Christmas card, "Please don't post this on socials." He's so funny. It's like, oh. I mean, I might have actually done that. I didn't really think about it, but I guess he knows better. But anyways, okay. Should I get the Zev in?
Yeah,
here?
let's do that. Anybody else have any questions while we're getting Dr. Z lined up?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. No, wait. Let's go to Monica.
Yeah, Monica, go ahead.
R.
Hey.
So, quick question. My niece is really having a hard time with COVID, this COVID situation socially, and she thankfully went to see a counselor for the first time yesterday. My question is, I've heard that this situation is mentally very difficult for adolescents, especially girls.
Very.
What do you think will be the long-term impact of this on these children?
I think we will have no idea. I think it is a gigantic social experiment on 8 to 15-year-olds. If I were guessing, I would say affective disturbances high, anxiety disorders off the chart, and suicide up at a high rate. Usually substances go up with those things as well. And I'm hearing, Wiz Chris tried to get an appointment with a child psychologist. You can't even get an appointment, right, Chris? Wiz Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After what happened, long story short, over the weekend, my daughter's got some emotional just coping issues, and she got mad. She punched a hole in a pane of glass on a French door. She's 7, and I was recommended to a bunch of child psychologists, and their schedules are booked. So they're like, well, we can see you in March or April. And that doesn't do me or her any good, so it sucks. It really sucks.
Getting a psychologist, they're all an adolescent psychiatrist, psychologists, they are busy right now in most areas. So yes, to your point, Monica, that we don't even know what the full impact is going to be, but it is clearly not going to be good. And what troubles me is, I've said repeatedly, we have health officials ignoring the health of the population they're responsible for. I don't understand it. I pore over the Los Angeles County stuff where I live, and they have all kinds of great stuff on their website from before COVID. And it seems like when COVID hit, they just abandoned everything else that they are responsible for. And I don't really understand that.
It's hard not to think of, I know this is going to sound loony. It's hard when you see all the conflicting information, when you see all the nonsensical regulation, when you see all the stuff, because we hear you say every day, I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand it as a medical professional, and there's no real science behind these decisions, it's hard not to think there's a bigger game at play.
But I think Monica, that's an interesting insight that a lot of people have, or feeling that a lot of people have. And I think before the election that would have made sense. Now it doesn't even make sense to me. It's like, what are they doing? What? Although I ask that a lot. I mean, the homeless situation in Los Angeles, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's the point? So you're killing people? Why? And by the way, Andrew Ashkavili asked, how about the fact that the FDA is finding out that vials of the Pfizer vaccine may have up to 40% more doses. So here's the thing you got to know is that even when you have flu vaccine, they always leave you a little more. Because think about it, you're drawing up a half a cc, you're not really getting the full cc, or you get too much, and some of it gets stuck in the needle. So they want to make sure we have the full 5 doses. So they usually leave a little more in the vial. Well, in this case, they've left 1 or 2 full doses in many vials. So we're going to have 6 or 7 in each of the 5-dose vials, which is great news. It's just more vaccine to distribute. They said they've cautioned against anybody pooling vaccine from multiple vials. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Dr. Zelenko is here.
Oh, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko. There he is. So, Dr. Zelenko, sir, thank you for joining us.
That's not him. Wait, he has to speak. Hopefully his sound's on.
That is Monica Ricci, but we'll get
Hi,
to
Monica.
Dr. Zelenko in just a second.
All you have to do is talk, Doc, and we'll be able to see you.
Dr. Zelenko, if you speak, then you'll be the one in the center. Maybe he doesn't have his sound.
Yeah, you're muted, sir.
How do I unmute? Okay.
Can you unmute him? Ask to unmute. Yes, you can ask. That's not giving you a little arrow, a little hand.
Hey, while we're working on this chart,
there we are.
Anthony,
Dr. Zelenko's here. Dr. Zelenko? Yeah, there you are. Let's get him forward. Say hello again. With you should come up on my screen here. And you'll just there you are. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So we have lots of questions for you, and we appreciate you joining us. Any update on let's start with hydroxychloroquine and your clinical experience. Any updating of your clinical experience thus far?
Well, it's pre-hospital care. I'd like to stay away from the word hydroxychloroquine because everyone the mind explodes. And then
Wait, really quick. I need everybody to mute themselves, if you will, please.
Everybody except Dr.
Except
Zelenko.
for Dr. Zelenko.
Yeah. So go ahead, sir.
The key is risk stratification of high-risk patients and then intervening within the first 5 days of the onset of symptoms. And then there's various combination of drugs. And yes, hydroxychloroquine seems to be the mainstay for most of them. But so is ivermectin, and so is prednisone or dexamethasone or other anticoagulants, and so on. So there are many options and many different ways to get to the same result. But the most fundamental principle is early intervention in high-risk patients, which should not be so surprising. It's what we do in every other aspect of medicine.
Right. And oftentimes our clinical practice, things we adopt and sort of improvisations we do are ahead of the science. We do, and then the science later approves, really substantiates what we're doing, and then FDA approval comes even later down the road after that. Why do you think all of a sudden we've abandoned that time-honored practice of medicine?
Because there was political side effects and toxicity that affected people's rationale and judgment. It wasn't about what's best for patient care, but rather what will make the Trump administration look the worst. And now it's going to transition to what will make the Biden administration look the best. So the recommendations, clinical recommendations, are going to be based on political agendas and narratives.
My own clinical experience is I've begun to zero in. I think I'm getting better results from doxycycline and ivermectin. Those have become my sort of favorite. I've seen a number of very rapid responses in early intervention using that combination. Is that a reasonable approach?
Yeah, absolutely. I do use doxycycline a lot, but still azithromycin seems to be my favorite because it seems to have antiviral properties as well. Maybe doxy also, but I don't know. But if patients can't tolerate azithromycin, then I will transition to doxy. And I've never had any QT issues. I'm not worried about cardiac arrhythmias. So obviously we need to use zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D. These are important kind of foundational approaches. But in addition to that, you could, depending on the clinical presentation, and maybe we can discuss clinical presentations, it will be a little less abstract. But if someone comes to me, let's say after 7 days, they're a bit hypoxic, pulse oxygen 92, they're 60 years old, I know they're transitioning into a big problem eventually, stage 2, with all the cytokine
activation.
fun.
Yeah.
So I would hit these people with absolutely everything I can immediately. That would mean I'll give them 10 milligrams of dexamethasone. I'll give them ivermectin, 18 milligrams sometimes. I'll use hydroxychloroquine, 800, 400, 800.
With the ivermectin.
Yes.
Interesting.
Eliquis or Lovenox.
Yes. The blood thinner.
Budesonide. In other words, I will throw everything at them. I'll get them HOMO2, IV fluids if necessary. And the key is to bring the hospital to them and not them to the hospital. I've had almost 100% success with this approach.
And as we know, the hospital, there's a general sense that hospitalization doesn't necessarily go well for patients for various reasons. So a lot of physicians' instincts are to keep people home, but they're not giving them much when they send them home, I've noticed. Right?
There's still a lot of ignorance and a lot of fear, and there's this false propaganda in people's heads. I have a very good friend. He buried his father last week. And why did he bury his father? Because he came to my practice. He had COVID. We gave him the regimen, the 3-drug regimen, actually. He called his cardiologist. His cardiologist told him he has atrial fibrillation, that he shouldn't take it. A week later, he was in the hospital. 2 weeks later, they buried him.
Ugh, I'm so sorry.
This is a recurrent story that I hear over and over again, and it's always associated with delay in treatment.
Have you seen COVID present as urticaria?
I have a few times in the context of back pain, interestingly enough.
I don't know about the back pain, but I saw an urticarial case a couple of days ago who responded immediately to ivermectin and steroid. Like, boom. Interesting.
Yeah, ivermectin, I'm not even sure of the mechanism of action. Not that it matters as long as it works, but it's an antiparasitic drug, but it must have zinc ionophore properties, because it seems to do better with zinc. There's a professor, Dr. Birodi, who put out a study using doxycycline, ivermectin, and zinc with really good results. He's from Australia. And they asked him why he chose that regimen. He said, because I'll go to jail if I use hydroxychloroquine. In Australia, 6 to 12 months in jail for the prescribing of. Then they said, did you ever hear of Dr. Zelenko? He goes, yeah, he's really good, but no one's listening to him. So, but
that is weird. Do you find it weird that there have been no randomized control studies using early treatment using some of these combinations?
No. This is intentional. This is well orchestrated. It's diabolical. And the reason why there's been zero emphasis on stage 1 pre-hospital care is exactly that, because it works. We know that there's 4 components, right, to any pandemic response: spread prevention, pre-hospital care, hospital care, and vaccinations. And why is it that there's been emphasis on 1, 3, and 4, but not pre-hospital care? There's been zero emphasis. Well, the answer is very simple, that it's in the interest of certain people to have the hospital census full. Because if remdesivir costs $3,200 for an administration and it's IV inpatient, then my data shows if you treat early, you get an 84% reduction in hospitalization and death, and that's in a peer-reviewed journal. That's a decrease in market share of 84% for remdesivir. I'm just pointing that out. And
yeah,
and-
I
and-
mean, it sounds like big pharma, but it doesn't sound like our profession, right? What happened to our profession? Did something happen?
Can I say what I really think?
Yes, please.
So the American Murder Association has sold its soul, has prostituted itself, and has become a puppet of everything except the patient's best interests.
Well, and I don't know if you're aware, but they came out a while ago and reversed their opinion on hydroxychloroquine and then reversed it back again. Did you see that story?
I did, and well, that's why I gave them the name that I gave them. American
I'm kind of with you, brother.
And people don't really understand. Let me just say the AMA is essentially just a lobby organization that a lot of doctors don't belong to because it doesn't do much for us. I mean, they have certain services and things, and they've got a pretty good journal they put out regularly, but they don't do much for the average physician. They really don't. The only thing that really does stuff for us typically is our subspecialty societies. So I'm a fellow at the American College of Physicians. There's American College of Cardiology, Gynecology, surgeons of various type. And those subspecialty colleges do usually serve the particular piece of the profession that they are representing. And the ACP has been sort of quiet on all this stuff. They certainly have not been taking on the AMA, which is kind of surprising. But there you go. Are you going to take the vaccine?
No.
Have no intention.
I'll tell you why. At this point in time, life is dynamic. I don't have enough data, enough information to make an intelligent assessment. And if there was no other options, I may make a risk versus benefit analysis and choose to take the vaccine because of my medical condition. However, since there is prophylactic options, which I am currently taking, which I actually developed, which is taking hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and I walk around without a mask for the last 4 months, and I have 0 antibodies. So why would I put myself in harm's way? Now, you're going to tell me that this vaccine is safe and efficacious, perhaps, but it usually takes around 20 million dose administrations of a vaccine over years to get a full side effect profile. To my knowledge, and I could be wrong by now, but it's only been around 50 to 100,000 dose administrations in terms of the research. So we're far from having a full picture. Plus, this is new technology. This is an mRNA vaccine, which never have, except in, I know you taught me in Ebola in Africa, they used it once. But in general, in this country, it's never been deployed on a mass.
Right. And I don't disagree with you. You can't assail that position. I know Anthony Brown is sitting above you there on my screen, and I are going to go get it. Part of the reason I'm going to go get it is I want to help be part of those 20 million doses that we need to get to reassure people that I actually signed up for the phase 3 trials. I know Kristen did, somebody we talked to earlier. And but I understand people that want to sit and wait. I totally get it. I completely understand, particularly if you're young and have no risk factors. I worry about you. I worry about me. I would like to move around in the world and not think about that. Hopefully.
Let me go back to Sensen. If someone comes to me and says, "Doctor, I've made my research and I really want the vaccine," I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
I'm all for free choice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop someone. But the second they start threatening me with mandates, then my answer is almost 100% of kids will recover from COVID-19.
No, I'm not having my kids take it. My kids are 28. I'm not recommending it for them.
I'm on the fence.
Right. What's going to happen? I'm afraid that in this country, it's going to be a situation in a year or two that if a child does not have the COVID-19 vaccine, they can't go to school.
Yeah, that could happen.
So we have Dr. Yo is here.
One more question before I bring Yo in, which is the threads going a little bit wild here about questioning whether or not you treated Rudy Giuliani. I don't know if you can speak about that. Obviously, there's HIPAA protection if you did or did not, but people are asking. Rudy Giuliani.
He's my patient, and the only reason why I'm telling you that is he announced it himself on national interview. So yes, he's my patient, and I've treated him for months.
Excellent, and he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's great.
Dr. Yogendra, who is a regular on our program, who has been following the long haulers, brought us Dr. Patterson, taught us all about the Rantes blockade and the cytokine activation system. Dr. Yogendra, are you here?
Hello, Dr. Drew.
There you
Dr.
are, buddy.
Zelenko.
Hey, so I'm wondering if you have any questions for Dr. Zelenko now that we're all together here.
I do. Well, first of all, Dr. Zelenko, I 100% agree with you about the use of ivermectin. I've sort of become a very big believer in the use of ivermectin, not only in active COVID, but it's also playing a role in
Whoops, hold on. Yogendra, go ahead.
Yeah, it's having an interesting role in these long haulers, and what the mechanism of action is. I couldn't tell you what exactly. Maybe an antiviral, some immunomodulating properties. Interestingly enough, something I've also been theorizing was hydroxychloroquine and the use in long haulers. I know Dr. Zelenko's talked a little bit about this. I've also mentioned about the immunomodulating effects of hydroxychloroquine. I just talked to a rheumatologist in the Bay Area who's looking into using hydroxychloroquine on COVID-19 long haulers. So very interesting. We have the immunology, the baseline blood work of these patients, and now we're going to be able to test, really prove that, we've been talking about the immunomodulating effects of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, but to actually show that data is going to be pretty powerful. So we just ran the samples 2 days ago, the ivermectin and the Maravirac responses to, in these long haulers, the immunological responses. So I should have some data, I think by maybe tomorrow or Monday. Bruce will send those over to me. So I'm pretty excited.
Wait, Maravirac, and what's the other medicine?
The ivermectin on the long hauler. So look at the immunomodulating effects. It's, Dr. Drew, it's pretty impressive. I have had now patients telling me within 24 hours, their symptoms are not only getting better, they're in some patients are telling me they're completely gone. Now,
do they stay gone?
Well, that's now the thing we have to find out. Some are saying it's coming back. They have to sort of take a maintenance dose, but the question is for how long, what that dose is, we're still trying to figure out. So,
well, let me ask Dr. Zelenko this. Some of the protocols I see for ivermectin include weekly doses or monthly doses for an extended period of time. I don't understand that. Where does that come in from your standpoint?
I believe that those are related to the anti-parasitic dose schedule.
So that's not what you, so you do day 1 and day 3, is that right?
Well, I use ivermectin as an add-on, and I only give it for 1 or 2 days, depending on the clinical presentation.
Right.
But I do use a very large dose initially. One thing I've noticed that if you treat patients correctly in the first phase, you virtually eliminate the long hauler syndrome.
Interesting.
I'll echo that, Dr. Drew. I think Dr. Zelenko's right on point with that, where there's something with the management. We're doing something wrong with the management. Now, Dr. Patterson believes possibly the use of steroids, but it's interestingly enough, we're talking about something we're either doing or we're not doing. And I think early aggressive treatment, if we're showing that this is viral persistence that is causing it, and we still not conclusively stating that yet, then is it possible that maybe we should be aggressive with those mild to moderate? Because the 64 patients we have in the study, and Dr. Drew, I'll send you the study that we submitted.
Great.
Most of them are mild to moderate. They never went to the hospital. They stayed at home, took some Tylenol and fluids and Gatorade, and were told to sort of get better on their own. Perhaps we should be changing our approach. Perhaps we should be considering hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, obviously Regeneron, all those monoclonal antibodies, being aggressive instead of letting these patients get into the hospital before we start giving treatment.
Yeah, I don't. Well, there is that one. Diana, I see you up there. Talk for a second. Unmute yourself and tell us about the trial that you guys have.
Oh, yeah, it's for bamlanivimab, and it's from Eli Lilly, and it's emergency order, and it's not FDA approved, and it's for treatment on the outpatient basis, so the patient can't be hospitalized.
But it's essentially It's essentially like Regeneron. It's a monoclonal antibody, right?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
Just
this is just to thank you, Diana. Diana's a nurse, an infusion nurse up in Washington, and this is a study protocol that her group is involved with for a outpatient only infused monoclonal antibody. Interesting, right? Yo?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were talking to me.
Yeah.
Well, it is. And this is the interesting thing about the Eli Lilly and the Regenerons. They're for non-hospitalized patients. So, Diane, that's great that you have an infusion center. I know some emergency rooms out in Long Island are setting up, or they have certain areas they've cordoned off for these COVID patients that you can go get infusions. So I think that was always the confusing thing, because the FDA said it's for non-hospitalized patients, yet they're infusions. I think they're about, if I'm not mistaken, about 60 minutes long for these infusions to take place. So it's very, very difficult in an outpatient setting.
Dr. Zelenko, are you using, two questions. Somebody asked on the thread, any risk to taking zinc and quercetin for long periods of time? Many people are on that combination now prophylactically, number one. And number two, do you use any of the infusions as an outpatient?
I've never had a need to use the infusions. Let me explain to you how this evolved. In March, early March, I was faced with a disaster. I had thousands of patients that were sick with no resources. And I had to make triage decisions because I just literally couldn't see everyone. And I used the age of 60 as a cutoff, as a rough cutoff, because it seemed to me that people over the age of 60 were getting, those are the ones that were dying.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I see that there is around 15% of patients that were really sick between the age of 45 and 60. So what I've done is I've lowered my treatment criteria for high risk to 45. So that catches many more patients and has virtually eliminated the need for hospitalization.
And back to that question on my thread here, any risk of the long-term quercetin and zinc?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any. They're extremely well tolerated. By the way, quercetin it's a bioflavonoid. It needs vitamin C to work. Without vitamin C, it's not going to work as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I think vitamin C, vitamin D, quercetin, zinc, those are, everybody should be on those. There's no downside. A lot of good evidence of immune enhancement. I don't know if we're all going to be on this chronically or not. It's kind of interesting. Do you think we should just all be on that to enhance immune function generally?
So I think vitamin D, we should have a target between 50 and 70.
That's pretty high.
It's high normal,
yeah.
I think that's where the benefits are. I have seen some toxicity, so if someone's going to take high dose vitamin D, it's probably prudent to do occasional blood tests to measure it. And you can tweak the dosing. Vitamin C is more valuable. The more you take, the more you excrete. So
and you're at 1,000 for C, is that correct?
Yes.
So we have a big Twitter panel group in here. I'm wondering if any of you guys have questions for Dr. Zelenko. Susan, I can't really see Monica's hand is up. So Monica, go ahead.
Just really quickly, on the vitamin D, I take about 9,000 IUs a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking. I just missed what you said about what constitutes a air quotes high dose.
He thinks he suggests that your levels be around 70, and he's seen some toxicity, meaning liver and excessive circulating levels. So you should get your liver functions tested and get the vitamin D levels tested if you're taking very high dose.
Is that a very high dose?
That's a very high dose.
So my favorite approach is 50,000 international units once a week because of compliance reasons.
So that's a prescription strength, and that is a more effective way to get the vitamin D. And Monica, I'm not saying that you don't need the 9,000 units a day. You might. I have people that take 7,000 units, 9,000 units, and they still have low vitamin D levels. So I think it's important to just talk to your doctor about it. That's all.
Does natural vitamin D do any good, or is
what do you mean natural vitamin D?
Like just from the sun and
the sun just converts vitamin D to the active form. So in terms of the absorption of vitamin D and calcium metabolism is very complicated, and you're zhuzhing your body to get it to that's Zelenkoism, zhuzh. Your body to get it to absorb vitamin D above its sort of what it wants to do. It's not that easy to do. It's harder than you think as we get older, especially. Dr. Zelenko?
Yeah, I was going to say vitamin D metabolism is fascinating.
Yeah, it's complicated.
The liver and the kidneys, and then sun exposure through the skin. The liver and the kidneys give it the hydroxy form. So the active form is vitamin D3, and D3 is important because the sun converts D2 to D3.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to take a replacement, it would make sense just to take D3 and not D2, because then that eliminates the need for sun exposure. I think that's an important point.
People are asking about K2, vitamin K2. I took that for a while. It gave me a headache. So I don't know what to tell people. A lot of people swear by it.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have a strong opinion, but it doesn't come into this particular protocol. Dr. Yogendra, any other questions for Dr. Zelenko? I'm sure you have a ton.
Yeah, Dr. Zelenko, are you seeing, I know you've been a big proponent and advocate for early treatment. And like I said, I completely echo that. Are you seeing any long haulers in the community, in the patients that you're treating? Are you seeing a difference in the patient? Obviously, you're treating them very aggressively, but are you seeing any difference or seeing more people turn to long haulers who are not getting on the Zelenko protocol or the ivermectins?
I've seen them die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah. Personally, the only long haulers in my practice are those that come from March, April, and May, where we didn't know anything really, and we kind of stumbled, and so we didn't treat people as aggressively as we should have. But by now, my practice is hyper aggressive. We use clinical criteria for diagnosis, which are more accurate than the PCR testing. And so in the community, there are obviously patients that are not my patients. I don't have a full sense of their histories, but I would assume that there must be long haulers, because if people are dying, right, there must be some people that are not dying but have the sequela. So that's the best I can answer.
Anyone else on the Zoom chat?
I wonder if I could ask.
Anthony Brown, he's up next, and then we'll get to whoever has a question. Anthony Brown, go ahead.
Hi. I've been encouraging my nurses to use the quercetin, zinc, vitamin C, and D, sort of in a prophylactic form. And they've been doing it like 7 days. Would it be okay if they just continue to do that? And how much of an effect would that make as far as preventative from getting COVID?
So it's really good. I mean, what you're doing is right on. I personally like hydroxychloroquine prophylaxis, because simply it's once you get the loading dose in, which I use 200 once a day for 5 days, after which is just once a week dosing. For that reason, I like it. But quercetin, I've been a huge advocate for it, actually, because it's over the counter. There's no government restrictions. Patients can just go and get it. So it's a way to free up people from the tyranny that exists in certain states.
Isn't it weird they didn't pick on quercetin? Why not pick at that one too? It's very weird.
Hey, Drew, actually, not to cut anybody off real quick, but I know that Joe and now Chris are talking about having like side effects from it. Like I know Joe was having like racing heart and all this other stuff. I don't know. Can we
from quercetin? Joe, I wonder. It doesn't sound like quercetin, Joe.
You there, actually Joe? Stopped taking it, correct?
I stopped taking it. Now I've started taking it again, and I've noticed so far my heart rate is okay. But could it be the zinc?
Dr. Zelenko, how much are you taking of zinc?
I'm taking exactly what the Zelenko protocol is.
25.
Right.
Okay. Dr. Zelenko.
And Chris is talking about 50 milligrams.
Yeah, 50 I get nauseated from, and that nausea causes my heart rate to go up. So
we have to find what we're talking about. If it's prophylaxis, I recommend 25 daily. If it's treatment, I recommend 50 for a short period of time. What I've noticed is some people can't, it's the elemental zinc that's important, but there's no such thing as elemental zinc in a can, in a box. So it comes in different compound formulations. So you can have a zinc sulfate, zinc gluconate, zinc oxalate, zinc citrate, picolinate. There's many types, and I found that some patients tolerate one better than the other. Not to the zinc component actually, but to the other component of the molecular structure. So that's what I would recommend. The first thing to do is change brand or change the compound and see if that makes a difference.
And Anthony, I would keep your patients on those medicines routinely. I know of no interaction between psychotropic meds and this protocol. Dr. Zelenko, is that accurate?
Correct. And COVID-19 interacts with every illness, so I would recommend you prevent it as much as possible.
All right, Susan, if you could show me the screen again and see who else has a question for Dr. Zelenko.
These are great questions.
They are great questions. Kristen, what are you pointing at? You're pointing at Joe? Okay, Joe, go ahead. I've got Kristen
Hollywood
pointing at
squares for COVID.
Yeah. I would like to ask all three of you. Okay, when did the medical industry? Why do we have to prepare? For like a hurricane, for something like COVID. I mean, doctors are not prescribing anything in many respects, and we're now 9 months into the pandemic. I mean, clearly, and there's a site called c19study.com. If you go there, it shows you the effectiveness of HCQ, of ivermectin, of vitamin D, of vitamin C, and why are doctors still not prescribing symptomatic patients, especially older patients?
And Joe, am I correct? You were able to get ivermectin, right?
I have HCQ here, and I have ivermectin here.
And how did you get it, if anybody's interested in that?
Yes, and maybe Dr. Zelenko could, I thought I saw his name on there. I could be wrong, but there's a site called speakwithanmd.com.
And they're willing to... Go ahead, Dr. Zelenko.
I have no financial ties with them. The only thing I did was I gave them 2 lectures to their physicians from all across the country, and I in-serviced them in the concepts of what I was advocating. So I'm listed as an unpaid advisor, which is accurate. So the way it works is they have licensed physicians in every state. You call, you set up an appointment, you actually have an evaluation, and if the doctor feels it's medically necessary, they'll prescribe it. And what's more important, they have a network of pharmacies where they can overnight the stuff to you. And that's a way to circumvent certain state restrictions.
How was the experience, Joe?
The experience was great. Again, because I'm not symptomatic, it took 48 hours to get it.
Interesting. Judge Zelenko, I'm sorry, I cut you off there. Finish your thought.
There's another telehealth service through, I don't know if you know Dr. Simone Gold from Frontline Doctors of America. On her website, you can also find another option. So I don't advocate one over the other. I do advocate early treatment. So however you can get the medications, that's what you should try.
And then, Joe, your website was?
Speakwithanmd.com. There's also a third one called Synergy Health.
Joe's been working hard for us. Somebody wants to know if this protocol could help.
I'm trying to help out Leopold.
I know. When we couldn't get it to him in time.
So somebody on the stream wants to know if it would help with the flu as well.
Yes.
Good question.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Zelenko,
Thank you, Joe.
Go ahead. So, Dr. Zelenko?
That's the elephant in the room because the influenza is an RNA virus, and at least it seems that most of the strands use RNA-dependent RNA polymerase to make copies of itself, which is exactly the enzyme that zinc is interfering with in COVID-19. So most likely, COVID influenza will be sensitive to hydroxychloroquine and zinc. And my personal theory is that this year, it seems the influenza rates are very low.
Yeah.
And in part, that could be due to spread prevention, that's true, but also the fact that many patients are using hydroxychloroquine and zinc.
And Go ahead, Susan.
Makes sense to me.
And Joe, maybe on locals, put up your medicines and the websites you found. Okay, do you mind that?
I'll post all three.
Thank you. Dr. Zelenko, it's weird to me. You know, we're all taking aim at the U.S. Medical system, but a lot of this behavior and paranoia and restrictions on medicine has been international. Certainly, Australia is a prime example of the craziness. Why do you think it's something that's worldwide?
Well, if you're taking me into global conspiracy theory, I have no problem going there. But since all the boundaries are now blurred between nation states, there are international forces at play that affect multiple countries at once. So, for example, the WHO, the World Homicide Organization, made a moratorium against the use of hydroxychloroquine after the Lancet study was published. And at that point, I was actually in high-level talks with the government of Chile, the Ministry of Health. And, they weren't too gung-ho about using it, hydroxychloroquine, but we were having a discussion. The second the WHO made its recommendations, I haven't spoken to them since. Even though 2 weeks later, that study was retracted for outright fraud, academic fraud, but the WHO never made any noise about that. So the damage was done. So you have to ask yourself, well, what motivates the WHO? So America withdrew from the WHO and took $450 million a year with us. So now the two major financial donors to the WHO are the Chinese Communist Party and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah, who's talking there?
That's not conspiracy.
Hey, Dr. Drew. Actually, Rory H is from Ireland. He's actually here with us right now, and I was just wondering if he had his hand up. So
and I'll bring Rory in just a quick second. I just want to say that I have a feeling that it's social media. At least a piece of this has caused us to become histrionic in some fashion. There's a weird, boundaryless, histrionic quality to all this that is uncannily pathological. And it's kind of, you can point at cable news and social media as the pathogenic mechanisms. But Rory, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Dr. Zelenko if he has an opinion either way on the origins of the virus. Does he accept the mainstream narrative that it originated naturally and transferred to humans that way? Or does he see the possibility that the virus was man-made, as some people claim?
I don't have the information to answer that in any intelligent way, but I will point some things out to you. This virus, if I were to design a bioweapon, I would design this virus because it spread for a week, essentially, when a patient has no symptoms. So I'm walking around spreading it to everyone around me, and I have no symptoms. I have no idea that I have it. It seems to kill the old and the infirm, which that's convenient if you want to save resources. And now China is a very big country, but their level 4 viral facility happens to be located in Wuhan. Yeah. And apparently a mile from that facility, this virus came from a bat or whatever they say. So that's enough circumstantial issues that it requires some type of scrutiny to see, because the timing was also perfect, right? To disrupt the American economy, American elections. It had some very interesting effects and beneficial effects to certain key players. So, for example, it had very beneficial effects to the pharmaceutical industry. It had very beneficial effects to the forces interested in displacing Trump. It had beneficial effects to countries like China, who wanted to get back at Trump for waging economic war on them. See, Trump started an economic war with China. That's his preferred method of war. And there are these countries who have lost a lot of resources from us pulling out of certain treaties and certain pacts and so on, so trade organizations and so on. So Trump has made a lot of enemies. And you know, the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think a lot of forces got together for different reasons, perhaps, but they all had one common denominator, which is to economically destabilize this country, provoke fear on a scale, on a national and global scale that hasn't existed probably since World War II, and use that as an opportunity to restructure society. So all the BLM riots and Antifa and all these forces have coalesced together with the intention of destabilization of a country. And the question is why? Why? Who benefits from an unstable America? And follow that breadcrumbs. You'll find it leads to only a few major players.
Dr. Yogender, you want to ask some questions now? Are you in there?
Yo left.
Dr. Yo had to go.
Oh, all right. Let me hear the stream again.
Wait. We have a cute banner for him. Go, Dr. Yo. Woo.
That was him yesterday in anesthesia, where they brought in a crash case with COVID, and so he was.
He also said he had 3 masks on.
Yep, you can see it.
You can see him all there.
Yep.
He's such a great guy.
Dr. Zelenko was just saying it sounds like he smells a rat.
Where? In
just with this entire scenario.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I
hear what he's saying.
People are profiting off of this.
I figured that. I studied Chinese history, and I knew that the war against China, the economic war, was probably a good cause, definitely. So, I mean, the Chinese are shifty that way, I mean, obviously.
I'd like to emphasize something. I have a prescription to reopen our country. It may sound radical, but just hear me out. I would immediately open up the economy.
Me too.
Immediately.
Thank you.
I would ban the use of masks. Now you're going to say, well, you lost your mind because there's going to be a huge spike in cases. And my answer is, so what? It's like one big chickenpox party. Remember those? Countrywide chickenpox party. But before we do that, you have to be smart. You need to deploy the logistics that have to be in place. So every pharmacy in this country has to be locked and loaded with medication. And there needs to be an executive order that indemnifies physicians from using these drugs, just like the pharmaceutical industry is indemnified for any negative outcomes from the vaccines. And why is that important? I don't know who asked the question why doctors are not doing the right thing.
Me.
But the answer is we've been traumatized, and it takes a really long time to become a doctor. We have families, we have livelihoods, we need to protect our licenses, and we have been threatened. So those threats are designed to psychologically create barriers in the doctor and in the patient. So there are a lot of obstacles in the use of life-saving medication. So one antidote to that is an executive order that protects doctors from doing their job. Just like a soldier on the front line, he's not going to be court-martialed if there's friendly fire. So same thing, we are the frontline soldiers now. We should not be threatened for trying to save this country. We should be encouraged. So if we were able to protect the physicians, have the resources, have the political will to encourage, have the CDC, NIH, and FDA do the right thing and encourage pre-hospital treatment, then you can literally reopen the economy with no masks and deal with because 99.98% of patients who get COVID recover. It's that small subset of patients that are either elderly or have chronic medical problems that have the high mortality rate. We need to deploy our resources to them, either through prophylaxis or early intervention.
Totally makes sense.
Susan, there we go. Show me the panel so I can look at everybody again. Here we go. All right.
Sorry, Anthony was texting me. He said, we have a police officer in the room.
Dr. John. Or I'm sorry, Officer John.
Oh, yeah. I got it. Where's
Officer
Officer? Oh, there he is.
See him?
Yes, I do see him.
Is that him right there?
Yes, that's him.
Oh, it was John's iPad.
I
didn't know it was him.
Shall I let Dr.
You're
Zelenko?
in trouble now, Dr. Zelenko. We're kind of.
Well, I'm wondering if I should finish up with Dr. Zelenko and then bring John in, because it's a wholly different topic.
He was planned. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Why are you guys nervous? You guys up to something? What's the matter with my panel?
This is so juicy.
So-
this is the juiciest podcast.
All right,
I'm so
let me.
excited.
Has anybody else got any questions for Dr. Zelenko? Because I'm going to let him go if there's anything else. Okay, Anthony, go ahead.
One last question. Is it possible for someone to contract COVID earlier and have the viral load drop to the point where it's undetectable?
Quick.
Just to come back up later again?
I haven't seen it. I haven't actually tracked viral loads, so I can't answer that.
I have heard. I have to tell you, I have heard of that not uncommonly. And I wouldn't even say I wouldn't. I would just say variability in the results of the COVID PCR test in active COVID. I don't know what that means, but I've definitely seen that. So, Anthony, I think you're observing something that has been observed out there, which is somebody clearly has the COVID. They turn PCR positive. It goes negative. It goes positive again, or some weird combination like that. I don't know what that is.
Well, we have a big problem with the PCR test because we don't know the exact number of cycles to run it, so that
Right.
amplification cycles to get the right or the best sensitivity and specificity.
That's
So,
right.
for example, someone ran a PCR test on applesauce and it came back positive.
Right.
So, so the question is, what are we picking up? Are we picking up viral fragments or active virus? That's why I feel clinical criteria is the best approach, because it's so easy to diagnose.
Does that help, Anthony?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. Any last questions before I let Dr. Zelenko go? Can I see the panel up? Oh, wait. Who is that, Chris? No.
Leslie.
Leslie. There you are. Okay.
Yeah. My husband is, he had cancer, stage 4 thyroid cancer, 5.5 years out, treated successfully, also has diabetes. Is he at higher risk?
How old is he?
He is 56.
I'll let Dr. Zelenko answer.
I think you know the answer to that question.
Yeah, he's a higher risk. He's higher risk, of course. He doesn't have the specific risk factors, right? The risk factors for the disease spiraling rapidly and getting into cytokine storm: age, hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, insulin resistant, antiphospholipid syndrome. But people are immune compromised, people who have pulmonary compromise, these are people that do less well with it. Okay?
And we are protecting him.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
good.
you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, and he's actually the group I worry about more than any other right now is the ambulatory compromised and ambulatory elderly. These are people with lots of life ahead whom we should be getting. I think we should be giving them the vaccine first. We have gone crazy over nursing home patients in this country who have a life expectancy of 6 to 18 months. But there are lots of elderly patients and not so elderly patients who are at very high risk walking around who could live another 10 or 15 years or more. And we're sort of leaving them for the third round of vaccine. That to me is a huge mistake. Dr. Zelenko, you agree with me on this?
I do agree. Yeah, I think that these are good candidates for the vaccine
Yeah.
if they choose to do it. If not, then they should at least be on prophylaxis.
Yes. Flora May, do I see you jumping around trying to ask a question there? Bunny?
Flora May Bunny.
No question, doctor.
Okay. You're busy at work there.
I'm
She's
just always jumping around over here.
Yeah, well, I see a lot of hand movement. I don't know if that's a wave or if that's you reaching for a dinosaur
it's the
jaw.
chat.
Okay.
Oh, I'm doing
let's see
Allosaurus teeth today.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
It's incredible.
Hey guys, I'm itching. I gotta know what Officer John's thing is going. I want to hear.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Don't you worry. I'm gonna let
getting
Dr.
excited here.
Zelenko go. Then you can pull out your weed, Casey.
I'm so
Joe, go ahead.
Zelenko, happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, Dr. Zelenko.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
Also, we're so glad, Dr. Zelenko. Are you there?
Yes.
Speak to us.
We want to get him up front. There we
So
are.
thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for for joining us today. A lot of people have a lot of questions. Also, we know you were snowed in. How much snow did you get?
I got 14 inches in.
Wow.
That's it?
That's a lot. That's a lot. It's in New York. It's
Is that
a lot.
overnight? That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're snowed in just because
that's 2 feet. Susan, remember when we were in New York standing in the middle of Broadway and the whole city was closed down?
Yes.
That was 2 feet.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that
yes.
was amazing. But that
Yeah.
was like 3 days. And I
Yeah.
was doing angels in the middle of Broadway. It
Yes,
was
she was
awesome.
doing snow angels in the middle of right outside Lincoln
It
Center.
was so fun.
Yeah.
Now I know we got snowed in. It was great.
And
Well-
Dr. Zelenko just got nominated for an award, correct?
Yes. We want to hear about that.
Dr. Zelenko?
Done your due diligence, is it? Yeah. I've been nominated for the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Congratulations.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
I hope that happens. I would seriously. I think I'd go to Washington if that happens. I would come see you. So we'll all be pulling
I'm
for you.
tearing up a little bit.
Thank you. I really appreciate your kind words and your support. You've been one of the most supportive in the media in general of what I've been doing, and it means a lot.
Well, my thing is, I've been practicing medicine a long time, and so have you, and you know how we've done this for many decades, and all of a sudden some force has taken over our profession, and I don't know if you're 100% right in any kind of accurate sense. I know you're trying to do your best for your patients, and you're improvising and trying novel interventions that are working, and the fact that is silenced is disgusting to me. And so at least having conversation and sharing ideas, and it's affected my practice a little bit, and I think I'm seeing good efficacy with the Zelenko method. Why? It's not different than so many other things I've experienced in medicine, particularly when they're infectious disease outbreaks. I mean, look, I cut my teeth in the middle of the AIDS epidemic. That's really where I was deep into that during my residency and for the 5 years after that. And there was a ton of improvisation then. Trust me. We were sharing all kinds of ideas. We didn't know what we were doing at the beginning. And no government agency came in and said, telling us how to do our practice, or telling our patients, if you have sex, you're a murderer. You're murdering your partners. This is a rhetoric and a circumstance that is anathema to everything I understand as my profession. Yeah. So I feel like you have to be speaking, and you have to be allowed to speak, and then patients need an opportunity to share these ideas with their doctors.
I feel educated by Dr. Zelenko. I feel like I just dropped into hopefully later when this is all said and done, Dr. Zelenko will be maybe he'll become a teacher or a professor, or do tours and talk to people about this kind of thing, because it just makes me feel so good to hear his wisdom.
It would be an interesting historical study, right? When we look back on this. Go ahead.
My hope is we as a country or as a world develop deductive reasoning skills.
Oh boy.
Analytical skills, because what's happened in this country, our higher educational system has been indoctrinating us in a certain way, like Pavlovian responses to certain stimuli, but not thinking. And that's a real problem, especially in our profession, when we're constantly presented with new circumstances and nothing's ever the same twice. So improvisation in real time is key to having good outcomes, and that's being stifled.
What was your undergraduate degree in?
Chemistry.
Yeah, real scientists. Where did you go for undergraduate?
Hofstra. I graduated.
Yeah, so you're actually a scientist, and real scientists are taught critical thought, and that makes you a better doctor. It just does. And I'm not saying you have to be a scientist to be a doctor. I'm just saying I know it when I see it. I know that training. So, and there are plenty of other engineering training, and I'm sure even other kinds of humanities, provided that mathematics and probability and certain kinds of critical thinking are emphasized. Dr. Zelenko, thank you so much. Do you want to refer anybody to a website or anywhere else?
My Twitter, because I have printed protocols there that may save people's life.
It's at Zev_Dr. At Zev_Zev_Dr. Thank you, sir.
He's got a lot of good stuff there.
We will talk to you soon. All right, buddy.
God bless.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Now we're gonna now gratify Casey's anxiety and curiosity.
We're busted.
This is Officer John Negrete. He's a police officer of the Los Angeles County Police Department, founder of the Los Angeles Police Cadet Scholarship Foundation. I was trying to get to speak for the LA Police Cadet graduating class at USC, but it didn't work out. I've had this in my mind, officer, ever since. I believe also Supervisor Sergeant Eddy Limon.
Is he here?
Is Eddy also in the thread somewhere? Well, let's get Officer John in here. John, welcome. There's Eddy. Eddy and a lemur. Eddy, I don't know what you're doing there. Sergeant.
I think the other one's, this is okay.
There's Eddy. Okay. Yeah. Sergeant, thank you so much for joining us. I will let you speak first about this concept. I know there's a lot of emphasis in Los Angeles for community building and relationship buildings, and you guys seem to be doing exactly the right thing, and we're doing it for a long time before you ever heard Mayor Garcetti talking about it.
Yes, sir. So the 5 components that CSP is based off of, one of them is safe passage, getting people to and from work, feeling safe. That's a quality of life issue all throughout Los Angeles, especially in Pueblo del Rio, which is what John and I specify in. And then we also have public safety. Of course, that goes without saying. We also have enhanced community capacity, community engagement, and wraparound programs. So we want to be able to give the community what it needs to be able to help itself in a way.
And Sergeant, was that a lemur?
It's Limon.
No. You were holding some sort of primate in your picture before you came on.
It was, yes.
Marsupial.
That's when I was in Thailand and the floating market.
Fantastic. Officer Negrete, would you like to add to that?
No, I just think that it's we're in a position where we get the chance to really engage the community. We get to build relationships with youth that reside in the Pueblo del Rio community, the elderly, and basically everyone that occupies the neighborhood. And it truly is an amazing opportunity to be able to get the folks to know us, to know more, to know what's behind the badge, and build relationships with them.
It's fantastic. Now, one of the things you get subjected to by coming on this program is my panel here asks questions. So I'm going to go up to the Twitter thread. Susan, if you can. Okay. It seemed like Casey had at least anxiety, if not questions.
Negative.
All right, no questions. Let me see the rest of the panel.
Hold on.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I had questions, not anxiety, though.
Okay, well, this is your chance. Go ahead. Ask questions.
First of all, to both of the officers, I want to say thank you so much for your service.
Of course.
Honestly, you guys are doing a really, really hard job. I was an MP in the military. I'm not saying that I, have experienced what you guys have, but I've gotten a taste. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do for us.
Appreciate the gratitude.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us.
Yes.
So I did have a question. So you guys are actually having to escort people back and forth to work?
So I'll let John answer that one since he's working Pueblos as an officer.
Operation Safe Passages gives us the opportunity. We have an amazing relationship with a very small elementary school that's in the middle of a housing development in South Central Los Angeles. It's Holmes Avenue Elementary School. The housing development has very limited resources. There's gang issues in the problems in the area. There's narcotic issues in the area. So Operation Safe Passages gives us the opportunity to escort kids to school, hang out at the school, build a relationship with the staff, build a relationship with the teachers, build a relationship with the kids and the families, and ensure that these kids get to and home from school as safe as possible. That's what Operation Safe Passages is.
That's a great recruiting tool as well, to where the cops aren't the bad guys.
Well, and you guys have cadets also, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I've been involved. I like to say that I started my LAPD career when I was a 14-year-old kid. I grew up in the same area where I was born and raised. I patrolled the area where I was born and raised. And when I was a teenager, I got to be involved in the LAPD Explore program, which is now called the LAPD Cadet program. So I was mentored by an officer since I was 14 years old. And given the opportunity to be here in the same area where I was born and raised, and working with some of the same officers that remember me from when I was a kid truly is an honor.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I know the community building component of LAPD is a big deal. Any, not to pull you guys into politics, but any concerns about the mayor's new policies or the DA coming in, or you just say focus on your work and let all those chips fall where they may?
Yeah, Dr. Drew, we just stay focused. I know that leaders change all the time, even captains within a division. So I always tell my guys, we still have to work as a team and care for one another and, be those brothers and sisters looking out for one another, because we are in a dangerous job and we can't lose track of what's important, and that's each other.
John?
Same thing, sir. We just have a mission and we do the best that we can to uphold the mission and be a service to people, help people out the best that we can, and just provide that public service.
Do you guys have any information about how social workers are going to be deployed? I keep hearing the mayor talk about that. Again, you guys may not have any info yet on this, but I talked to one of the LA County Board of Supervisors. I forget which one it was. And I asked him, I go, how's this supposed to work? And he just did not answer me. Has that deployment started yet?
Deployment hasn't started from what I know, or I've been told, but I know that it's something with MEU, which is our mental evaluation unit.
Got it.
We've always had a psychiatrist go with an officer, so they're paired up as partners.
Right.
And they do go out there and handle certain radio calls after everything is
calm down.
Calm down.
So maybe they'll expand that. That's interesting. That kind of makes sense to me, that if it can be a follow on, because the way they presented it was, either with an officer or by themselves. I'm like, how that is not going to work. You throw in a 110-pound social worker. It's like, I don't know about this. But after the fact, yeah, I get that. Back to the Twitter group, Susan, if you can permit me to look at everybody. Let's see who else. Anybody else? Any comments or questions?
By the way, we're a Zoom group,
wait,
not a Twitter group.
Let me. What did I say? What did I say? Twitter.
Locals.
Yeah,
Twitter
locals.
Group.
Actually, I've not heard from Chris Wiss Chris yet. So let's let Wiss Chris in on this one. Wiss Chris.
All right, this is silly, but it's for the officers. If, let's say I had a younger brother, and let's say he took a rope and threw it over a high tree branch and connected one end of the rope to a tractor.
You don't need an officer for this, my friend.
I just wanted to know if it was a ticketable offense.
Ticketable?
They tied rock climbing equipment to the other end of the rope and then put a friend up in there, moved the tractor, and then the friend went up and down and up and down.
Again, I think I stay with my original instincts.
That's why I said it was silly.
We need to get them a psychiatrist. I think that was my original thought, and I'm going to stay with that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If I were to go to the hair salon, would you give me a ticket?
No, right now we're just practicing education. So we're educating the public, letting them know that everything is being locked down and closed due to COVID.
Somebody's asking a good question. What are all the regions that can get your guys' services?
So we have all 4 bureaus have their own commanding officers. So we have West Bureau, South Bureau, Central Bureau, Valley Bureau. We happen to be part of Central Bureau. So in Central Bureau, we have South Park in Newton Division, and we have Pueblo del Rio in Newton Division. So that's what we mainly focus on, is the apartment housing in Pueblo del Rio, which are 660 apartment homes with about close to approximately 2,000 residents.
Anthony Brown, I saw your hand up.
Yes, hi. I appreciate all the work you guys do out there. My question is, as far as working with the community, do you have any program, or would you guys have any interest of working with someone, say, who has been homeless and a drug addict, got his life together, to work side by side with, or even educate when someone's on a cadet level?
Are you offering your services, sir?
As a matter of fact, I am, Dr.
Well, I know for sure they would love to have you talk to the cadets. I bet you. Am I speaking the truth, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I'll let John answer that once he works
John?
with cadets closely.
Absolutely. So when I was a kid, I was able to be a police explorer from the age of 14 to the age of 21. Shortly after I was done with the program, I became a Los Angeles police officer. So I became a police officer fairly young at 21. Now the program has changed. Now you can be an LAPD cadet from 14 to 18. So one of the things that my foundation offers is finding something for these kids to do once they turn 18, once they aged out of the program. So something like what you're saying, Anthony Brown, is exceptional because it helps me keep these kids on the right path.
Let Anthony, why don't you and I go together and because I still owe John something. Yes. I was supposed to do a talk for him and I really took it. I really feel bad that I haven't done it yet. And I know how persistent you are, Anthony, and I know it will happen if we make this a duo. So John, let me commit to you here. And Anthony, on your behalf, yes, to come talk to your group early in the new year, hopefully.
Absolutely. I would be more than honored to be able to do that.
Anthony should tell his story. You would like his story, John. You would find it interesting.
You actually owe me keynote speaking at the next cadet graduation and also a ride-along in South Central Los Angeles.
I was just about to say, Dr. John, Drew needs to go on a ride-along, baby. Yeah. I want to see him strapped up.
I want a ride-along.
Oh, you guys don't want Mrs. Pinsky in a ride-along.
I know, I'm a horrible backseat driver.
Man. But let's start with this. Let's get this done because then at least I'll feel like I contributed, which I even intended to do quite all along. Then at that point we can talk about further plans. Awesome. Okay. So,
well, thank you for reaching out, and I'm glad that we could make this happen. And
yeah, I feel like this is a good place to stop.
Where can we find a link to your organization?
Where there's several links. LAPD Online, LAPDonline.com is one of them. And from there, you could click on over to the Community Safety Partnership link. And then also Los Angeles Police Cadet Scholarship Foundation is another one.
Great.
Do you guys have anything on Facebook for like donations and all that kind of stuff? The reason why I ask is because yesterday was my birthday and I started something for Canines for Warriors and I maxed out in less than 24 hours. I still have another week to raise funds.
Wow.
Do you have something that I could actually work through Facebook?
So yeah, if I can get somehow your contact, we'd love to be able to connect you with that part of our organization or bureau, and that
Susan
way
has
they
it.
can work with you.
What is
sure.
the
Yeah.
3 that's your email address. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's public. So yeah, but I'll have John contact you, and maybe we can go through John and get that contact info.
Totally. Right. I'll start another one for you guys. That's awesome.
Great.
Gentlemen, thank you for all you do.
That's
thank
so
you for your
nice.
service.
Thank you for doing that, Casey.
My Zoom group, I correct myself from my boomerism, which the thread was attacking me or
Twitter.
Give me grief for.
What
I called it a Twitter group. I don't know why I was doing that. I don't know.
No, we're the local.
I'm still recovering from a colonoscopy.
Well, Dr. Drew, thank you. And keep them high and tight.
Keep them high and tight, Officer Sergeant. We'll keep them high and tight.
Thanks, Jeans.
Thank you. No. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. So try it out, my friend. Try it out. We'll leave it at that. And thank you to the group. If those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go to your mom's house and check out Dr. Drew After Dark. It's all there in all its glory. Very different than this whole experience, but we will see you guys all at Locals. It's Susan is Locals.
drdrew.com/locals. If you want to be on the Zoom next time, sign up and you can come on too and ask questions to our guests and also to Drew and of me if you want. I don't know. I have lots of things to talk about, I guess.
Okay, and let's let our panel go. Thank you guys. Thank you to officers. And let me just remind people after let everybody, and we'll get updates on Leopold over at Locals, of course, as well, and we'll keep an eye on him. He's doing less well tonight than he had done. I just want to remind everybody that these iWands, you can get it with the discount, without the discount. You don't even need the discount code. You just go to drdrew.com/iWand. I love these things. I do. This is one of the things that COVID has changed for me. There it is. Look at me at dinner, iWanding everything. And you can use the code or not use the code, but it's drdrew.com/iWand.
Use the code.
Either way, you get the discount apparently if you go through
Our
our
Zoomers
website.
can't hear us right now. They're muted, but
That's all
go
right.
to drdrew.com/iWand. Use the code DrDrew15 for 15%
Yeah,
off.
so we're really happy with this product, and I support these guys.
And I
so.
finally got one. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I got you one
I'm
tonight.
going to take it with me tonight when I get my hair done.
There
Okay, I can go back to the policeman now.
You go. Now they said they're not involved in enforcement.
Oh, no. Could you hear that? Oh, I don't think.
Wait. Who is that down at the bottom there? Let me see the names again, Susan.
What's that?
No, it's me. It's Rory. I just wanted to ask about the wand. How long do you have to wand an item?
10
for it to work?
seconds.
Is it a
10
few minutes?
seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. That's the other thing I like about this one. It's quicker than the rest. It's a 10-second deal, and it catches a big surface area too. And I'm going to ask some specifics about distance. I think it's a foot to a foot and a half above the surfaces, but you'll get like an entire computer. My computer is now sterilized from bacteria and viruses. Crazy. Now, while I've de-emphasized myself the importance of surfaces for COVID, I think that's true. But this is also, I hope, brought top of mind all the other infectious diseases that
So
are
it's good
surface.
for the flu too?
Flu, bacteria. When traveling is really when I think about it. That because we would come home sick every time we traveled.
I
and
didn't.
This reduces
Because I
all
always
that.
use Clorox wipes.
All right. So
But
anyway,
this is easier. So
Susan, you got to go.
if you're gonna, I don't know what the turnaround time is for these when you buy one, but if anybody buys one, let me know how long it took you to get it.
Actually, I do.
Joe has one.
How long did it take?
A week.
A week.
I wonder if we can get them before Christmas. Probably not, huh? But you never know. You could just put the picture of Dr. Drew's face in there and say, "I got you an I1," and put it in their Christmas stocking or something.
They'd be cool Christmas gifts.
Yeah, I know. Well, we just but check it out. See if you can get it faster.
All right, guys. Thank you for all being here, and we are going to not be in here tomorrow. Are we going to do anything over the weekend?
No, but we have last time I talked to the guy, we're going to have Rob Schneider in here on Monday.
Great.
We're going to come full circle with the whole COVID-19 and vaccination situation with him. Everybody loves Rob.
I love Rob, and I will obviously disagree with him, and he has a right to speak his damn mind. And so, fine. It just doesn't make me love him any less that we have disagreements on important things. And we all should learn from that and go ahead and keep people in our lives that have ideas that we don't necessarily just agree with.
And also everybody knows that number 97 is up this week. This was the banner from 96, but we have the Queen Above 18
Queens
from last
Above.
week. I don't know what the new one is. They haven't sent me the banner because they don't give it to me until Friday. But anyways, it's in podcast form today. If you want to watch it on YouTube tomorrow, go to youtube.com/Dr. Drew.
So there is no Fox tonight, no Fox tomorrow night because of football and then college football.
And it's
NFL,
my
then football.
birthday weekend.
Susan's birthday is coming up. Yeah, right away. And so we're going to go out this weekend. We're going to be alone this weekend. And
Well, no, we're going to be cooped up in our house ordering
Right.
food and
Right.
drinking vodka.
right. That's Susan's birthday. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, Wiz Chris signs off on that, Susan. She completely signs off.
I'm going to get a tan.
But we
I'm
will,
gonna get some
because of
vitamin
that,
D.
we will not be here Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but we'll be back with Rob on
Monday, yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a long weekend. I don't know if I want to take all the camera stuff down there. Our studio is so perfect now. I don't want to schlep it, but we appreciate everybody's time today and hope everybody has a really good holiday weekend.
And then Anthony, you work with the officers, figure out a time. Let's get some dates, some possible dates, and we'll work around everyone's schedule, and we'll go talk to the cadets. Okay.
Okay, I'll work through Susan to get the connection and the information and all of that stuff.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. We will see you on Monday.
Somebody said Dr. Zelenko for president 2424.
There it is. Thank you, Dr. Zelenko, for joining us. And Dr. Yogendra, too. We didn't thank him.
He appreciates it. And also Dr. Yogendra, thank you very much for being so last minute. But, this is what Locals is all about. Love you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
It is officially winter, and even though we're all taking precautions, it is high cold and flu season. Staying hydrated properly is key to helping your body deal with all this stress, and nothing has worked better for myself, my family, my patients than Hydrolite, the amazing rapid rehydration drink mix you've heard me talk about for quite some time. I've been obsessed with it. Also, in time for cold and flu season, they have their latest formulation, Hydrolite Plus Immunity. It's become a huge favorite around this household. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and a host of great ingredients. Each single serving, easy to pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 300 of elderberry extract. They've created a great tasting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Remember, zinc's very important for the immune system. They've combined this with Hydrolyte's 7 key electrolytes, making this a fantastic way to stay properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy to pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water to make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, vegan. Hydrolite Plus Immunity is also now available in ready-to-drink bottles at Walmart next to the pharmacy, or as always, you can find it by visiting hydrolyte.com/Dr. Drew. Again, hydralyte.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use the code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.